Hello, welcome to Tylo and Eeloo episode 48. I'm Lorenzo, your host for the evening, and today we will be forging onward with the space program with the ultimate goal of colonizing Tylo and Eeloo. You're currently watching a third supply launch to the space station with attached orbital shipyard. This to bring new supplies, new water for fuel refining, and of course paramount new rocket parts for constructing stuff in orbit. All of this is very important to us, to you, to the space program and civilization as a whole. More things we'll do this episode include revitalizing the Surprise, an ancient derelict science station. Look, there go the first set of boosters that are being dropped. A derelict science station that will be re-inaugurated with scientists that will work around the clock to provide our space program with much needed scientific advances. In between those things we will mine Minmus for ore, our neighborly planetoid, which will then be refined into high grade rocket fuel right there in orbit of said planetoid. All that is gonna happen and maybe more if unforeseen consequences happen, but first a rendezvous with the future. God, that never gets old. The name The Future is just so good. I'm kind of liking this zoomed out view. We know how this works. We don't need to inspect the rocket up close. It's nice to get a scenic overview every now and then. The pitch did happen way too late. Let's have a look. Well, it's actually not being so horrible. We're 3 degrees off. That's actually quite horrible. But I'll fix that. And seeing as this is the third of nearly identical launches, if you are very curious how this goes, please watch the previous episodes. For this one, we will just skip straight towards the docking moment, as you will see now. Like so! Here we are, docking the supply truck to the station. It's a little bit messy, but then again, I had to maneuver it all the way around the station, and now it seems to... I mean, we shouldn't forget that this truck is about as heavy as the entire station, so... Yeah... Come on, let's maybe slow it down a little bit. Take a little bit of a sting out of that approach. Look, I got lots of fuel with me. I did an efficient rendezvous again. Aren't you proud? Cool, and now use the RCS thrusters to stay stable, maybe? Alright, docking is hard, man. Jesus. There is a lot of oscillation happening. We can push this station around a little bit. It's not abuse, it's love. Here we go. Come on, come on. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm going to try and align the vector with the port even as though we were still approaching it. Oh, come on. I hate this. Come on, grab onto that docking latch and let's get cracking. We brought 2,000 machinery, because we still need more machinery. We brought water, 10,000 units. We brought 12,000 units, less 100 of rocket parts. And we got, well, half a tank full of fuel. I'd say, and of course not to forget, the monopropellant, which is in here somewhere. Oh yeah, it's hidden here behind the water. Half a tank full. Come on, that's worth something, guys. You want this. Well, at least the magnetic attraction is finally winding down a bit. As soon as it docks, I can do the logistics, transfer the water in and that stuff, and then we'll pop over to the Surprise and see what that station needs. I'm actually gonna write that down on a notepad because I doubt if we can send it over all at once. Alright, maybe we need to do some RCSing now to reapproach the docking port. Okay, let's go very quietly. Alright, a little nudge. Is that allowed? Damn, I wanted to cut in the video and just go, ta-da, here we are, docked. But apparently that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna try and back off a bit. But apparently that's not allowed either. I mean, we are stuck together. Oh, come on. This controlling and setting of targets does nothing, I presume. Alright, I'm just gonna wait, and I'll do that off camera. I suppose that I'll let the attraction... No, I'm gonna use SAS when it's righted. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Keep this attitude, please. Oh, that's actually not a very nice attitude to keep. What if I switched control to the space station? Wait, let's try the attitude keeping again, like here. Keep this. Yes! Alright, we made it. Let's transfer some machinery. All of it into the aeroponics module. Oh, we are full on organics. So we're producing more organics than we can use. Alright. Are we also producing supplies then? Greenhouse is at 4% load. That should be able to do a little bit more. I mean, the greenhouse, the cultivator will make nothing. The cultivator is allowed when we stop the greenhouse, but when we start the greenhouse, it's saying the cultivator has organics full. I'm just gonna leave it like this. Maybe it will make supplies. I don't really know. Anyway, we also brought up a lot of supplies. So, oh, it's maybe out of water for making supplies. Fortunately, we brought that. I just need to get the refinery to stop draining water from the agriculture module. That's a little bit unfair, wouldn't you say? Oh well, I'm gonna transfer resources and then switch to the surprise. See you at the surprise. No, let's wait for a second. Oh god, I'm not very steady today, am I? What am I gonna do? Oh, water, fuel, what? Right. Is it now? It's now at 95% efficiency. The greenhouse is at 5% load. I have no idea what the hell that means. If someone can tell me what these numbers mean, I'll be happy. Thanks. Machinery. More machinery. We have more machinery to use. We can use some machinery in the fuel refinery. We have more water now as well, which we can transfer also into the fuel refinery, which is a good thing. As I said, I'm going to do all that transferring that's boring, and then switch to the surprise. See you there. Alright, so here is the derelict surprise module. It's really quite basic. It has a carbonite tank in the vain hope of collecting some carbonite from this particle collector. Well, we can try and do it, but I don't think it's gonna work. It has a pioneer module. This is actually good. This is a baseline. This is the core of a space station. The orbital shipyard actually does not have one. We can attach greenhouses here. It has a habitation module, I think. Yeah, this is a habitation module. We can attach a agriculture thing, and it will work. We can attach some supplies. This probably has a supply canister, right? Not even. So we need a supply canister. I'm actually going to keep a list. We need supplies. We need green. We need agriculture. We need power, most of all. We need possibly an actual science lab, a science experiment. No, we don't actually want to do scientific experiments because this is going to remain in Kerbal orbit. We want a command module as well because the problem was we couldn't command it. Command module. We need some delta V to get there. And we need a docking claw because this does not have docking ports. This was made in the era before docking ports existed. What else do we want to have on this station? This is never going to go anywhere. This is just going to provide us a steady stream of science. Well, of course, we need antennae. What else? I'm pretending I'm asking you. Of course, you can't reply. We want the logistics module? No, not really, because this thing is not going to have any resourcing function. A docking ring, obviously, so the rest of the things don't need the claw. A docking ring. I think if we add that, we should be golden. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go down to the VAB and try to knock that together. I'll go down there and show you what I came up with. We have 13,000 rocket parts to work with from our orbital shipyard. So here I go. Right, this is what I came up with. A aeroponics module, a agricultural module, the big one. Look at that, it does this. What, that will look cool. Some water, some substrate for making supplies, some actual supplies to store them, and a small mulch canister with a advanced grabbing unit. Solar panels everywhere and a docking port on the back. You will notice that we're not bringing an actual science lab because I can't build them yet, at least not the orbital colonization stuff. This clocks in at 4,000 rocket parts, which is very affordable, and I suggest that we are actually going to go ahead and build it, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Here we go, let's load that into the shipyard and start building it. Holy shit, what's happening there? There's some impactors screeching by. That's probably one of the expanded fuel tank. No, it's really old, it's the big honker. That's from episode like 7. Alright, well, it's dangerous here. If one of these things strikes the station, we'll be shit out of luck. Right, so this is being built. It takes 6 days. We're going straight back down to the space center to see if any of the Kerbals that are currently in the shipyard are actually scientists. If not, we will send it over unmanned, and we'll have to send a shuttle with a few scientists up there. Because of course, we want the science station to be manned by scientists. Do we have scientists up there? We do not. We have one. We have Rodgar. Right, so Rodgar is going to come along to... Rodgar is going to come along to the Surprise, and I think the next module to be built on the Surprise will be a training facility, because then our Kerbals can earn stars there as well. And I reckon because a 0-star scientist isn't really that good, and it's not reasonable to have 0 stars of experience if you've been living in space for years and years. So I want to get the training facility. Another thing that happened, we now have completed building the upgrade, is that last episode we left a miner on Minmus, which has been steadily mining away for 10 days now. So it probably has its tanks full of ore. So before we hop over to upgrade our thing, look at that, here we have a full set of ores. We're going to have to deliver that back to the ore processor. I'm just going to do that, and I will show you how the what am I saying? I will show you how the in situ resource utilization thingy works out for this station. Let's see, fuel station gamma. We'll wait until that's sort of overhead. And this is interesting, it's actually in a retrograde orbit. Of course, it doesn't really matter around Minmus, but it does matter when selecting the direction you want to take off in. So I'm going to rendezvous by blasting off. Hey, we're actually making good speed. The ore isn't too heavy this time around. In the retrograde direction. Come on, this gimbal really isn't so strong, that's annoying. Oh dear. This orbit is way too large already. What I was saying is that yes, I'm going to do this off screen, so I'll see you when the in situ resource utilization is commencing. See you then, is what I said. Right, so the miner is docked. It was quite a difficult docking because it ran out of monopropellant. Yeah, and these are not maneuverable craft, so it took me 20 minutes. let's not talk about that anymore. Let's see if our refinery setup actually has all the parts it needs. Because, you know, with using new technologies, that's not always obvious in the first design. This thing with monopropellant would be very easy to dock. So, first things is we're gonna make monopropellant. 100% load. Yes! It's making lots of monopropellant. And also liquid fuel and oxidizer. Oh, yes, it's working. It's working. It's also using more electricity than we have. So let's deploy more solar panels. Great. This is just the greatest. Now it's just 2 more trips, and then we can cash in 600 grand. Cool, this goes really fast as well, this processing. Wonderful. Right, I'll leave this to happen for now, and we can go back to the orbital shipyard and make the upgrade module complete. In real life, I'm gonna take a break, have lunch, and do stuff, so there might be a little bit of a disjunction when the episode resumes. But of course, we don't really mind that. So yeah, when that happens, I'm going to launch this, and it will make for the surprise with Rodgar on board. So see you then. And then is now, and now and then new spaceships are launched. So releasing it. I did miscalculate in the supplies. I thought there was a supply container on the resupplier, but there wasn't. So we're now running sort of low on supplies. Doesn't matter. We'll ship more up, and we have greenhouses. So we should now get Rodgar outside and into the upgrade, because that's what the new ship is called, the upgrade. And it's maybe a little bit of an understatement, because, well, this is the thing that will allow a formerly derelict station to become functioning again. That's nothing to scoff at. We will still, we want and need 2 scientists in there. So we're going to have to send a scientist up from Kerbin. I mean, that's new. We haven't done that in ages. Right, this thing is pretty heavy because, well, the tanks are nearly full. Wait, how does this have 2500 water? I asked for it to be... How does this have 1000 organics? Alright, this is it. The supply sliders are definitely broken. Fortunately, this has a claw module with which we can claw back to the station and transfer these resources back. This is a problem. This is a problem. As long as the new ships just get all of the resources, well, it's not that big a problem. It basically means we need a logistics hub. So we can just transfer the things now without redocking. At least that's what I think is what a logistics hub does. I'm not actually. I made that up. It's what made sense to me from the description. But we will. We'll find that out. Right. For now, though, let's redock with the future. Oh God, this. Oh, it doesn't actually matter because we can restock monopropellant, of course. Alright, let's redock with the future. God damn it, this mission is off to a shaky start already. Alright, punch it. Am I in crack ace space pilot or what? I can just feel by the effect the RCS system has that the ship is overloaded. Call me crazy, but I'm pretty proud of that. Right, I hope we can claw our way back into the shipyard, because if not, we'll be in a little bit of trouble. But hey, otherwise the station's gonna be in a little bit of trouble, because it doesn't have any machinery left, doesn't have any supplies left. Blah blah blah. Doesn't have any substrate left. No, it didn't bring the substrate, but it did bring all the water. Let's just content with the fact that it makes no sense at all. Right. Alright then, we want some organics back. Even though this thing makes organics, we kind of want all of this back at least halfway. So stop. And stop. Now for the water. We need this thing watered up to 1,000. That's for sure. And then we need to remove 1,000 water from the other container as well. Then substrate is pretty much fine. Fuel is also fine. That was meant to be full. So let's see. We want this water back. No, we want it back from here. Sort of like this, yes. Yeah, they can have all the mulch. That's good. Right, that means we can now actually depart. Release from here. I want to control the other ship, please. RCS on. And move away from the station. Disarm the claw, we don't need that for now. Here we go. Let's target surprise. This is where we're headed after all. Where are we now? We are here. Surprise is over there. We're going to need to catch up with it. I didn't do any calculations, but I figure we have some delta V to spare. Because, well, we have a whole rocket tank. This is a dangerous maneuver. We're not going to do that. Let's see. No, that's not allowed. We're going to have to catch up to it through through increasing our orbit instead. No, but then we won't meet it, so we're going to first decrease our orbit. I got confused. We gotta first decrease our orbit and then do the rendezvous, which I will do off screen because, you know, these things are fairly self-explanatory. As well, inherent to doing lots of orbital engineering are lots of orbital rendezvous, and I don't want my whole series to revolve around rendezvousing and docking, so I'll filter out most of these things for your viewing pleasure. So see you when we're close to the surprise. If you do have any questions about how to do these rendezvous, either browse my previous episodes, although that could be hard because, well, they're not marked for their rendezvousing tutorials, or just shoot me a message in the comments and I'll happily do a rendezvousing tutorial just for you. Cool. Yeah, that's going back and forth. So I'll stop recording and rejoice when we reach the surprise. See you then. And much rejoicing was had as the upgrade met the surprise and docked with it. I'm saying this in a slightly weird way because what actually happened is that the game crashed and I had to redo lots of things, like most of the episode, including the Minmus Minor thing. In the end, basically the same stuff happened, except that some of the amounts here with the substrate and the water are obviously slightly different. But take-home message is that we now have a station, and I thought it was a science station, but it's just Pioneer module here that has a scientific function on it. And even though that's supposedly on, it's not generating any science. Maybe that's because there's no scientific experiments on the ship. Maybe that's required. That would actually make sense. Maybe it's because the electric charge is being eaten up really hard. By the way, I don't really know why that happens, because if I start research, if this thing here, the aeroponics module, is at 525% efficiency, even though there's no one in there. And if I stop it, we have all the electric charge in the world. Now it's at 750% efficiency. How the hell can that be? That's a mystery. Fortunately for now we have enough supplies, but we're gonna have to supply a heck of a lot more energy to this thing before it's going to be able to actually function. This is still at 0 science per day. 250% efficiency though, but minus 0.33 productivity. I absolutely don't know what's up with that. And when I start the greenhouse, it goes to 2.5% load and 25% efficiency with a minus a third productivity and vessel productivity. What happens if I transmit science? It says done. There is no science. 0 science gained. Yeah, we figured that out. So there's lots of mysteries still. What's next for this thing? We have a docking port here, so there are possibilities to do things next. Is the sending up of one more scientist. That will come from Kerbin, because we have Rodgar here, but well, that's only the one guy. He'll get lonely. The workspace, I don't know what that does. Maybe that does the productivity boost. Let's see if we retract the workspace, if we then get a normal efficiency. Stop research. Here, this is now 25% efficient. Same thing with the greenhouse, maybe? No, that's still at 524% load. That's just crazy. But now it's at 59% load now that the workspace is inflated. I have no idea if that has anything to do with things. But, well, we have the trappings of a functional space station, and if it's not going to beam science down, it's got to do something else. So let's go to the space center and see what I came up with. We're gonna build a few things. We're gonna build a second upgrade for the station, which will contain a Kerbal Academy, because I'm about done with the 1 and 2 star Kerbals. I want, well, with the 0 star Kerbals really, I want starred Kerbals. So we're gonna do the following. We shall la-di-da-di-da. We shall build, let's see, the upgrade 2, which is really simple. It is a Kerbal Academy, some housing. This is a housing module. Look at that. And a science package, in case that was actually necessary. A science package. And a docking ring, and of course more solar panels, some fuel to get there, and that's basically it. So that's going to be added to the science base Omega, which is actually what I've called the surprise station, because I think Omega sounds nicely sciencey. I just spotted that the docking port isn't completely flush on the connector. This should be good enough. No, actually, it's not good enough. Please have it snap to the node. Also, I'm getting like 8 frames per second here in the assembly building. Oh, it's because the download I had was completing on the same hard disk as I was recording to. All right, well, that's solved. No worries there. Now this is nice and flush, and I'm going to attach a cubular. That's not a word, I'm pretty sure. Cubular pod to provide remote control whilst it is in transit. This will also be the drive module. If we ever need to move the science base Omega, we'll have a nicely efficient engine here. Right, so that's going to be built on the orbital shipyard. Obviously, this will take 4,700 rocket parts. I think we have that in supply. And then something that's going to be built on good old terra firma is going to be the Science Boy, named for the Kerbal that is going to be flying it. This is the simplest rocket in existence. A big engine, a small engine, and a capsule with a scientist in it. It's appropriately cheap, $44,000, and we're gonna build that and send up another Kerbal to man the station with. Let's see. We have in our build list now. Actually, the ships are not going to be are not added to the build list anymore. Can I? Oh, we can rush the build for money. I didn't know that was possible. Can I add an alarm here for like Kerbal controller time? No. Well, we'll just have to keep it in mind. What we have is, I think I want to be able to do that though. Here we have 2 researches. We have the command modules in 66 days and ion propulsion in 261 days. I kind of want them in here, but I don't know how to do that. Settings. Oh well, this is not the most interesting stuff to do. And maybe there is a function, because these things get in there, but not all of them do. Oh, let's put the points in the science building. Oh shit, I bought a point for 16 science. I didn't want to do that. Right, let's just get more scientific build points so this goes slightly faster. That didn't seem to do anything. I don't know how that works. Right. We're constructing a rocket. That's what counts. And this has happened. This will happen in about 7 days. I thought that was 6, but all right. We'll move to the orbital shipyard to get that one in production. And I think in the next episode we're also going to do a overview of what we have, what assets we have. We have a forgotten base on the moon as well, and we'll recharacterize, rename, and recategorize things so that we well, we know what's out there, what we can use, what we want to decommission, what we want to get rid of, what we might want to salvage. So get a little bit of grip on our infrastructure. Right, here we have the orbital shipyard. Let's also rename that to something that's useful. Let's see, where can we rename the ship? Everything here is inactive because the oxidizers we are out of water almost. We're doing well on supplies. Remember, we sent a lot of supplies over to the other station. But I want to rename the ship. Do I go here? Yeah, rename. No, this renames the Apollo scrapyard. I want to rename the ship. First I want to time warp so that we're in the sunlight, so I can see which parts to actually click. Missing machinery here in the aeroponics module, that could be a problem. Where is our machinery at? Did we crush all of that into the... Well, we've got some machinery here. Did we crush all the machinery into the fuel refinery? I think we did. Yeah, oh, and of course we send lots of machinery to the science outpost, because that's not going to get regular resupply runs. Alright, let's do some fuel maintenance. We can put that in here. That way at least our refinery can be active. And let's... I really kind of want to rename the ship, but where is the rename button? Or can I only rename the shipyard and hence nothing else? Or can I do it here? Rename vessel. I mean, this is just going to get messed up as soon as I undock that, but we'll call it the future, because I kind of got used to that name, and call it the station. We'll see what happens when we undock that, because we will undock that at some point. Right, plenty of rocket parts. Let's do what we came for and build the upgrade 2. Build, and this will happen in 4 days. In the meantime, we can move to Minmus, where we can visit our miner. And in the crash and re-recording of the episode and doing the first 2 mining passes, I did a few mining passes, I discovered something sort of problematic. Ore is heavy, fuel is light, ore refines into a little bit of fuel. This doesn't seem to be going very well. We're gonna need to time warp until this is full, because we need them full, obviously. Ore being heavy, fuel being light, and them refining into sort of equal amounts means that it's very, very dumb to actually lift the ore into orbit, where to then process it into fuel. This, I haven't done the hard calculations, but I've made an estimation. This operation with the vessels currently in use will roughly break even. Which is of course completely not the point of doing a refueling thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize this infrastructure we have. I think with the fuel we have we can do 2 more passes without actually refining any fuel. I'm now just time warping to get into the sunlight to make a nice, nicer ascent. What we're going to do is to get the 1200 fuel units, no, the ore units that are required by the contract. And then when that has happened, we shall repurpose this whole dig to put the refinery here along with a logistics module, so that we can just land a fuel tanker and then ferry the fuel up and not the ore. It remains to be seen whether we have to make a brand new very complicated lander, or if we can rejig the parts we found here. But for now, oh dear, yeah. For now we're just going to go and rendezvous with Fuel Station Gamma, and you'll notice that the upgrade has completed building as well, so we'll do our rendezvous with that and the rendezvous with this station, and we'll call it quits for this episode. As you have grown accustomed to from me, I will not show you the whole tedium of the actual rendezvous. Ooh, I just yanked the drills out of the ground with a rocket thruster. That's probably not the best strategy, but well, as I said, I'm going to try and do the rendezvous without showing you all the boring bits. So I will reconvene with you at the fuel station, well and properly docked. So, as always, see you then. And as promised, once more, here we are docked, and the fuel refinery is off. Very important, because we need to present 1200 units of ore in Kerbin orbit, and this is of course Minmus orbit. So we're going back down to the planet to grab some more ore. Yeah, not you, I want it from you. To grab some more ore, and then we will you know what I'm gonna do. I will set down, grab the ore and redock, then do the Kerbin orbital insertion, and then just end the episode. I will build the station, the upgrade 2 module. I will build that off screen and just show you the results in the next video, because well, what you're gonna see, it's just gonna be flying out of the shipyard, attaching to the other station, saying yay yay hurrah hurrah, there's more capability, here's the conclusion. So let's instead just skip to the conclusion, and yeah, I'm feeling happy with that. That's the way I'm gonna do it. For now though, I'm going to be fiddling with this monopropellant stuff, and once that's done and this thing has been down and up to the planet, we will round off this contract as last part of the episode. So see you in a few days actually, but it will be an industrious few days, because this thing will be landing, it will be mining, Lamalt will be eating supplies, and then we'll come back with a shipload full of ore. And in the interim between episodes, I shall scratch my head, and then very importantly, attempt to build a miner thingy that can remain on the surface of Minmus, because well, the simple thing would be to just bolt the in situ resource utilizer onto the miner and land that. I'm fairly sure the miner has the thrust to weight ratio to get that down, especially if it doesn't have to come back up again. But then there's still no logistics module. So what I could do is squeeze the logistics module in as well, but then it will become a fairly precarious tower that would have to be landed. Another thing I'm considering, and this is I think the direction I'm gonna go with, is to land this thing with the resource processor. That's just this bit. Then land a separate thing that's actually a base module with a resource hub. These things are heavy, they're 15 mass, so that's going to be a big lander. And then we can, if the resource thingy works as I think it does, we can just plop down separate base modules in a reasonable vicinity of one another and get everything to work. I think that's how it works, and that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that sounds cool to me. Wonderful. So here we go. I'm gonna disable the video once more and well, do more mining. I haven't yet found a video game in which mining is not the boring bit, so this is another argument for making it automated, or at least sort of automated, with a base for the Kerbals. Yes, the more I talk about it, the better I'm feeling about it, and I'm gonna find a way to do this efficiently and quickly and mostly off screen, because, well, to be honest, it's gonna be lots of more of the same, which won't necessarily make very interesting videos to watch, but it will be cool to have the space space infrastructure to do cool stuff with. So that's what I'm gonna build, and I will show you the results. For now though, please enjoy a quick editing moment as I, well, return with tanks full of ore. See you in a sec. And right as promised, here we are. Now to transfer the ore to the mothership and return to Kerbin orbit to cash in that juicy contract. We can almost do it. How much? We have a frighteningly low amount of liquid fuel and oxidizer. So here's what we're going to do. We'll put the ore in the ship, in the vessel. We will put most of the monopropellant here in the lander, drain that of fuel but fill it with all the excess oxidizer. Then take the ore into Kerbin orbit, there refine it into fuel, and then with all the bountiful fuel we'll return to this lander, which will then be a little bit hard because of the difficulties in rendezvousing with such a well, adrift is the proper word, I think. Such an adrift device. Doesn't this have any monopropellant left either? It has some. Come on, put that in these tanks. I should not have used the round spherical tanks. They're nice and small, but they are terrible for transferring, as you can see. This doesn't need a lot of monopropellant, although it is really thirsty because it didn't install any reaction wheels. For all attitude corrections, this requires monopropellant, which is a little bit horrible. And now the hunt is on to find a canister here that still has some. This is going to be the last one I drain into this, because otherwise I am going to get mad. I'm gonna get crazy because of this. Alright, we have some monopropellant in the lander. And we are going to... yeah, we're gonna have to bring this whole fuel depot with us, because that's where the ore tanks are attached. Fortunately, we'll not need a whole lot of... delta V to do this. Here we go. We have 255 liquid fuel and 1200 ores. Let's have a look at our contract. Have 1200 units of ore in your vessel. That's now affirmative, and now we need to put that in orbit of Kerbin. Doesn't say what altitude, just any old orbit of Kerbin. So let's say this engine needs to be activated. It has literally some fuel. Is there another engine that needs to be deactivated? It says there's another engine on board here. Oh, that's that one. Oh, it's interesting that it still counts that one. Will it throttle up if I throttle up here? Can I still do stuff to it from here? Where is that engine then? No, I can't still do stuff to it from here. That would be weird if I could. Right, we're all set for a Kerbin orbit insertion burn. Let's do that from the map view so we can do the minimum orbit necessary. Well, this is really sluggish because of course it's really heavy with all the ore it's carrying. But the way this orbit is nicely elongating, I am feeling confident that we'll manage. Come on. Yes. Min-miss escape. Let's warp towards that moment. We have currently 720,000 credits. We have 189 units of liquid fuel, but as soon as we cash in the contract, we can of course refine the ore into fuel and be good to go. Here we go. Are we in orbit of Kerbin? I think we were for like a second. Look at that, 460,000. Wonderful. Is the ore now gone from the ship, I wonder? It is not. Let's immediately refine that into the fuel we like. And close the build list. And well, I will take this back to Minmus where it belongs. Attach the upgrade 2 to the surprise. And the next episode we'll start with launching the Science Boy, which will then check out the science base. Sound good? I think so. Let me know in the comments what you think about this skipping of important milestones. Although important, but also tedious. And of course tell me what you think in general. Overall, thanks for watching, see you next time. I'm Lorenzo, goodbye, And we're hella rich. Look at that, we are over 1 million. Gotta find a way to spend that money. See you later.